What's up, stackers? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning in. Did you know that I post daily videos every single day? If you didn't know, then hope you stick around, because I do. I like to cover a lot of different types of content, whether it's, price updates, whether it's forecasts, whether it's the history, stacking strategies, everything. I do lots of giveaways. I do it all here, folks. Now, speaking of just very interesting facts, I was covering an article the other day, and it was talking about what affects the price of silver, what factors. And down here, they're talking about large traders or investors, whales. There's very well-known wealthy people that buy silver. And I think that's a very interesting topic itself. But down here it says, Warren Buffett purchased 130 million ounces of silver in 1997 when the price was $4.50 an ounce. The value was worth $585 million. That's pretty crazy. And when I covered that article and saw that, I was like, yo, I got to make a video on this. I got to dig deeper. So I found an article that breaks the whole situation down. Did you know this? Because I didn't know this. Right? And speaking of, the little trivia questions, I want to put together some type of silver stacking trivia game where maybe like I can do a live stream, have, 2 or 3 other people on, like as a Zoom call, and I ask questions, and whoever gets the most questions correct wins some silver. I think that would be so fun. I'm always trying to innovate the world of precious metals, like, in a way we've never seen before, and I think that would be a really cool step in doing so. I want the community to have some fun, engaging types of things to do, and that's definitely one of the coolest things I think I've come up with in a while. That's definitely possible. I even have the silver stacking podcast, which we could do it on, or since we're already doing a Zoom call, a Zoom meeting, me and my co-host already. So I don't know. What would you think about that? Would you participate in the silver stacking trivia show? And do you think it would be some cool content? Because I definitely would. I mean, if someone else was doing that type of thing, I would love to watch it, and I would try to participate. And that's how I try to think of it, is like, if that was me, would I want to? And I definitely would. So if I could put that together for you guys, then let's do it, right? So anyways, Warren Buffett is acclaimed as the most successful investor of our times, having become, according to Fortune magazine, the country's second wealthiest man via his investments. And here's the thing to remember. When you're that wealthy, you know what you're doing, right? You understand the markets of everything. And since he invested, $585 million in the silver, he knows something, right? It's not just, I'm just going to grab this real quick. These guys know what they're doing. And there's another video I'm actually going to be making as like a part 2 of this, is someone else who is one of the wealthiest people in the world that also bought a boatload of silver. So a lot of people know about silver, and a lot of people understand its true value. So let's go over this entire article. So normally, Berkshire would have revealed its silver acquisition in its annual report. However, amid accusations that silver prices were being manipulated in the CFTC announcement that it was looking into the accusations, Berkshire issued a press release on February 3rd disclosing the purchase, which is interesting because, remember, the Hunt brothers also did something very similar. Now, the Hunt brothers was 3 years later, 1980. So I think that's very interesting that not only did Warren Buffett do this, but the Hunt brothers did. But the Hunt brothers situation broke the internet, broke the news, when no one even really knew about Warren Buffett. And the Hunt brothers got in some serious trouble. Now, they were doing a lot of other things, borrowing money and doing a lot of stuff that they shouldn't have been doing. If they would have just been buying these contracts on the COMEX and turning them into physical delivery, the government couldn't have done anything. But they could, since they were doing other things as well. And that's, I think, what, inevitably got them caught. But regardless, on January 28th, a class action lawsuit was filed against the commodity firms that had been buying the silver. The lawsuit maintained the price of silver was being manipulated because the price of silver was rising as gold was going down, as unprecedented occurrence. Now, that doesn't just prove that silver is being manipulated. You would have to look at the act more itself. I mean, the gold to silver ratio shows whether silver or gold is more valuable at the time, or what the more overvalued or undervalued metal is. When the ratio is going higher, that means gold's outperforming silver. When it's going lower, silver's outperforming gold. But that ratio itself, you can't just say, oh, the ratio is going down, so silver's manipulated, because silver and gold are used for two completely different things, two completely different markets. And when we're moving forwards, what silver's needed for as such a critical role in the digital era we're advancing in, where gold really doesn't have a play in, you can't just say silver's manipulated. It would almost be more of proving it's manipulated since the ratio is where it's at. It's almost like reverse psychology to some degree. But anyways, asserting that gold and silver cannot move in opposite directions ignores the law of supply and demand. Due to central bank sales, gold is perceived to be in abundance, while silver is clearly a short supply. For their prices not to diverge under these conditions would be anomalous. And by the way, this article was written in 1998, and they're already talking about a silver supply deficit. In 1998, right? So, anyways, asserting that gold and silver cannot move in opposite directions ignores the law of supply and demand. Right, and that's what I was talking about. Like that doesn't make sense, right? If you're saying that they can't, right, the ratio is pegged, then that doesn't make sense, right? Supply and demand, and they even said, right, gold. There's plenty of gold. There's not plenty of silver to go around. So to say that silver's manipulated simply because of that act is just nonsense, and that's just them making excuses. Now, during the late 1800s and the early part of the century, government policies, mostly silver purchase acts, resulted in huge quantities of silver being mined. When the government stopped buying silver, its price fell, clearly responding to an oversupply. Now, silver's in a short supply, and it is reasonable to expect silver's price to rise to a level that will balance supply and demand. And it's just funny because, 1998, and by the way, Hunt Brothers was 1980. This was 1998. So the Hunt Brothers, was, several years earlier. But regardless, the Hunt Brothers situation blew out of the water when Warren Buffett's didn't. Now, I already explained probably why, but at the end of the day, that led silver to $50, right? It was around $9 when the Hunt brothers got into silver. They got into silver because you couldn't, gold was banned at the time. So they got into silver, pushed the price of silver up to $50, and then Silver Rule 7 happened, basically banning silver. You couldn't buy silver. They did that because of the Hunt brothers owning 77% of the global silver supply, turning those contracts into physical delivery. The government couldn't let three brothers own all the silver in the world, so they banned silver. They had to sell it. Everyone else panicked, sold, pushed the price back down to around $9, which was on Silver Thursday, the day Silver Thursday is when price plummeted like over 50%. But regardless, Monetary Digest has for years maintained that silver offers better upside price potential than either gold or platinum. We take this position not just because silver's positive supply and demand fundamentals, but also due to a phenomena that most silver analysts overlook, and I definitely could still agree. And it's just crazy this article was written in 1998, right? May 1998. And they're just on track as with today. So since the beginning of time, silver has served as money alongside with gold. The Old Testament is replete with references of silver as money. Genesis tells Abraham paying 400 shekels of silver, current money, with the merchant for a burial place for his wife Sarah. And everyone knows the 30 infamous pieces Judas of Iscariot took for betraying Jesus. Now, they go over, the New Testament mentions Greek silver, 30 pieces, secular history credits Lydia. It just goes over a lot of biblical stuff. But anyways, they kind of go through the history, talks about silver being used as money alongside with gold, but it's been more accepted with the masses. And then usually people who get into precious metals gravitate towards silver because it gets more gets better bang for your buck. And I think that's pretty interesting because I feel like gold's the mascot. When you think of precious metals or you're going to invest in precious metals, most people think gold. But then you get in and you hear about this more affordable, more profitable metal that has more potential. And then you switch to silver. I mean, is that what you did? Let me know, because I feel like that's what most people do, right? You think, oh, buying physical gold would be cool, but then you hear about silver. So It's just really cool that they're explaining this after noting that Warren Buffett did this. But 8 years of production deficits. We already know about this. Digging silver out of the ground is a lot easier said than done, especially when miners want to focus on gold, lead, and zinc, since more profitable to do so. I mean, why would you look for something that's $20 an ounce out of the ground, ounce for ounce, when you could look for something that's, nearly $2,000? Makes a lot more sense to get the $2,000 an ounce thing out of the ground. Silver's a byproduct. Most silver is found by accident. But then they just go into the COMEX. The CPM group asserts silver stocks approaching critically low levels. Um, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think that more people, um, more people are going to start taking on silver, especially when these big whales get in. So here goes into more stuff about Warren Buffett. So, Buffett's purchase validated silver as a credible investment. That's kind of what I was saying, right? Investors who before would not have given silver a first look now know that silver's positive supply and demand fundamentals since the news broke. Most financial publications have reported Buffett's move and why, and this exposure caused more investors to look at silver. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? Because when someone gets into something, you have to why. Same with the Hunt brothers. Why are they buying us? And that's why the government had to cover them up and make them look like criminals. Or like Elon Musk. I always talk about how Elon has to be some like a low-key undercover silver stacker, since all of his companies are through the industrial sector. And imagine if Elon Musk came out and said he's buying silver. It would shoot the price up. Just like he typed 4 letters on Twitter, shot Dogecoin up thousands of percent. He typed DOGE. That's literally all he typed. That's Dogecoin, and shot Dogecoin up thousands of percent. Just that 4-letter tweet. So you could see that people have big influence. So still, there are pundits who have taken shots at Buffett's silver buy, and that's going to, everything anyone does, there's going to be people to oppose it. Whether, literally, especially when you're more well known, anything anyone does, there's going to be a group of people that want to rebel and oppose what you do. That's just life. I mean, why? They have their own reasonings. Everyone has their own opinion. There could be several different reasons, but that's just how it is, right? One sarcastically said that Buffett's move was from one warehouse to another. Let's not forget, however, Warren Buffett paid $680 million to move his silver to another warehouse. That's more than he even paid in general. I mean, that's insane. So other critics laugh and say, oh, so he owns 130 million ounces of silver. Who is he going to sell it to? When he goes to sell, he will drive the price back up to $4.50. It's so crazy. Drive the price back up to $4.50. Then I guess they just ignore Buffett's history of investing. Buffett is noted for his long-term investing. He did not buy silver for a $2, $3, $4 move. With his staying power, Buffett may not be a seller until it hits $15 or $20. Man, it's crazy now. But anyways, when silver rises to higher price levels, he will evaluate silver's upside price potential at the time. And that's what a lot of people, like I was talking about, the critics or the people that oppose, most times it's out of assumption. They're just assuming, and what they're assuming is usually wrong. So, but they're thinking as if they're right, so they end up just looking silly 9 times out of 10. But regardless, there's no wrong way to buy or sell. I mean, there's wrong ways to sell. I just made a video talking about that. But when you're investing, buy what you want. If he wants to do that, then so be it. Let him do it. I mean, he's the wealthiest person in the world. Obviously, he knows what he's doing. So since Buffett's cost is about $5.25 an ounce, silver probably has solid support at $5.50, with a 12 to 18 month target of $10 to $11.50 and a downside risk, but only to $5.50. Silver's very favorable risk to reward ratio. And it's really cool to just read an article from back, in 1998. It just shows what people's perspective was on silver way back then. And I think that can show a lot of insight to just see what people's perspective is over time, especially, this was a long time ago. I was 6 years old when this article came out. So Many readers remembering prices of $4.50 an ounce only a few months ago will find it difficult to buy at current prices, right? That's so crazy. You know, prices are $5.50. That's so crazy. That like imagine that. And that just shows that the desensitization factor of not only just silver but every type of market. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, this is pretty cool. Misunderstandings and outright lies. Many misunderstandings and lies about the purchase and sale of precious metals circulating among investors. Generally, these misconceptions and falsehoods center around the fear that the government may again call in gold as it did in 1933. Interesting enough right there. You guys know what happened then. Executive Order 6102 by FDR, basically confiscating everyone's gold. And that's why you have the St. Gaudens Eagle of 1933, the gold eagle. That's so, crazy but anyways, by cultivating such fears, unscrupulous firms can sell high price and often overpriced coins with greater margins of profit. Investors who believe these stories invariably pay too much or buy the wrong coins. Monetary Digest readers need not to suffer such fate. And then reportable purchases. If you ever spend, by the way, over $10,000, do a 1099 or whatever. You don't want to do that. You could buy $9,999 and then go the next day and buy another $9,009, but never buy $10,000 because you got to report it. Confiscation. We can go into that, but obviously I just mentioned that. Like I was just talking about, Executive Order 6102, and that could actually happen with silver as well, which I've talked about in the past. But yeah, I thought this is a pretty cool thing, especially since this article mentions a lot of other stuff about the silver markets at the time beyond just Warren Buffett. But what do you think about this? I thought this was a really cool video. I like history stuff like this. I would love to go on I would love for myself to participate in a silver trivia game show type thing. I'm going to be hosting it, but I think it would be cool for me to participate as a player in the game as well. But would you guys like that, to have like a silver stacking trivia show, or even just a one-time thing, or we could do it every month or whatever, or once a year thing? What do you think about that? I think that would be awesome. I love trying to engage you all as well. I'm trying to bring the community together, think of fun things to do. Sometimes investing can get a little stale, so I want to bring that spark of life into it, right? It has to be fun since we're so invested in this, pun intended, and so, just it's a hobby. Why not make it more entertaining as well? I mean, I think that's very important, especially to bring more people in. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was 1, educational, 2, informational, 3, at least entertaining, make sure to like button. I post daily videos. Stay tuned. Check out my last videos. Got some cool stuff that I did and that I'm working on. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.